Hey, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's afternoon for my guest, Mike
Hello,
Waite.
everyone.
Hey, Mike. I'm really honored to have Mike here because Mike knows everything about one of our ingredients, which is Manuka honey in our new treats. I'll show you, got a package right here, Gussy's GutAbles. So, just super quick, Mike, if you will indulge me, we have three main ingredients: White Oak Pastures pork, Manuka honey from Wedderspoon, which is Mike here, and Gussy's Gut. We make a custom blend of Gussy's Gut fermented foods that go with it. We mix those together and we turn them into a treat. It's the most nutrient dense treat we can think of. And so Mike and Wedderspoon are a big part of why that is. So, Mike, welcome.
Thank you, Rob. I really appreciate you having me on to talk, and pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's dig into the world of Manuka honey because it's super duper fascinating. So let me start for our audience to tell them, why did we put a bunch of expensive honey in our treats? So people who know us know that we believe food is medicine, and we didn't want honey for the sweetness, although that's nice. We wanted it for its constituents, the benefits of it. Now, Manuka honey comes from a single plant. If you get a single source honey like we do from Wedderspoon, and in that plant, through the magic of bees, you get all these incredible benefits. And we can go really super nerdy, but most people don't like that. Most people want to know that really what we've done is we've created it with our food as medicine philosophy as an ingredient. So, and we use a very little bit amount, a little bit in each of the treats. So let's talk, Mike, about what the heck is Manuka. Let's go high level again.
Yeah,
And what the heck is Manuka honey? Why does anybody care?
yeah, great. Thanks, Rob. That's a great intro. So, really, why does anybody care about Manuka honey from New Zealand? Well, firstly, it's an indigenous species. Leptospermum scoparium is the name of the plant, and it has a very short flowering window across New Zealand throughout the mid to late summer. So it can be flowering for 2 to 3 weeks. So the master beekeepers that we partner with, and we have partnered with for the last 15 years plus, to produce particularly organic honey that we're supplying to Rob and the team. It is just a beautiful product. It comes from some of the most pristine, visually stunning environments that we have in our country. Predominantly, this honey we are sourcing from the South Island, particularly around foothills and large station farms. So I've been out to these sites many times with our beekeeping partners, and I'm absolutely struck by just how beautiful they are. Think crystal clear rivers, gorgeous mountains, dense bush, no people around. Once you get to the edge of these farms where these hives are located for the flowering season, you're really talking, the roads aren't even really formed. You're talking of driving over grass to get to the hives. So there's just that little amount of traffic. And
Amazing.
really, the honey is organically certified by a New Zealand agency for equivalency to the USDA standard. And that really just shows how pure the honey is. We're talking a product which is just in a very isolated, beautiful place. And that really reflects in the flavor and the qualities of the honey. So the monofloral organic Manuka honey that we're obtaining through these beekeepers is just some of the best honey that we produce. And we're more than happy to be partnering with Rob and the team to provide them that product for their own great products.
All right. Thanks, Mike. So monofloral, tell me what that means.
So monofloral is really a measure of how much of one floral source has gone into this particular honey. Now, mono, as the name would suggest, single origin, Manuka. When the Manuka plants are flowering in the South Island particularly, there are very little other floral sources present. So the bees can really feast on the blooms of the tree itself. And then we also have a scientific definition of Manuka honey for export, which was determined by our government. And so we test every batch of this product as we're packing it out in bulk or in jars. And that way we can confirm that this is absolutely meets the criteria for a monofloral definition, meaning that you will see some other floral sources inevitably because other things are present, but it sort of meets that wholly or mainly criteria where the absolute majority of the product is pure Manuka honey.
Well, I mean, I have purchased for years your product, and I have purchased different, I was going to say models, but
the different, so K16 and K12, the different
and a little, what is that little size? What is that, 6 ounces or?
Oh yeah, we think of it as 250 grams. I'm trying to remember what it is, but the smaller size, you get through that pretty quickly, don't you?
Yeah, you do, and it's like, in the States it's $50-$60, and you wonder why it's so expensive. That's why it's so expensive. You've got a small window of a flowering plant. You're going way out, as we say here in America, the boonies, to go get it in pristine nature. And then you've got to get it every batch tested, and then you've got to ship it to us. I mean, like, honestly, I'm surprised it's not $300 every, $300 for 4 ounces of it. So it's an incredibly high quality product. I mean, by all measures, because this is, in America, what we believe about New Zealand is it's where you can get really clean, great meat, like lamb. This is just generally what we think. Manuka, because it's there in your country, we think of that too. We associate that with your country, and I'm so in awe of how you guys have managed to keep that country. I'm sure there's some dirty parts of your country. There better be, because most of everything I've ever seen is just gorgeously clean and pure and pristine and beautiful and green and blue, and it's gorgeous.
I think I could probably comment on that through the eyes of our American visitors that we've had from Wedderspoon over in the US. The comment is always, it's a clean, green, beautiful country, and it's really a reflection of the lack of population. We have 5-6 million people that live in this entire country compared to double, triple that live in, say, New York. And so less people means our environment is retained in a very beautiful state. That's part of what the organic honey really carries with it is, we know that it's glyphosate free. We know that it's, our entire nation is non-GMO. So we know that the product is non-GMO by definition, because we just do not have, we do not grow any GMO crops or any other products in this country.
And you're an island.
And we're an island. And, so we have a very, very strong biosecurity function of the government in terms of anything imported into this country, and similarly strong controls around export to our partner nations and agreements in place with those nations for the receipt of those goods. And so what that really means is that our nation has a very high focus on food safety. So our products are typically, very well produced to a high standard. The quality is typically very high because we know we're selling a product and we're exporting it, and an export market deserves the best we can produce. And that's true of all of our various products. So everything from, hazelnuts, cherries, grass-fed meat, all very popular products. And when I've lived overseas in the UK and visited America several times, and it's always a sort of a source of pride to see a New Zealand product take a prime spot on a shelf in a grocery chain or retail outlet across the world. And I think you're quite right. I think people do trust our products as being, really premium is probably the best way to look at it. They reflect the environment we're in. They reflect the skills that we have. So, producers in our country are typically multi-generational. So the master beekeepers that we partner with to produce the organic honey, they're second generation beekeepers, and they're on farms that they've been beekeeping on for 30 years. And some of those farms are owned by families which have had them for generations. So there's a lot of intergenerational knowledge that really helps to kind of ensure that product quality and ensure, really good outputs from the land, and a lot of respect for how the land is dealt with. We love our country, as everyone should, and we have a lot of respect for the environment that we're lucky enough to live in.
Yeah. You mean everyone should love your country or each other's country?
Everyone should love all countries, Rob.
Just kidding. Yes. Right.
But I think you've got to love the country you're in, right? Like,
Yes.
you've got to love the country that you call home.
Yes,
And,
amen to that.
yeah,
and probably, right? I think everybody loves New Zealand.
Yeah.
All right, so back to why we chose Wedderspoon. So first and foremost, I have to say, like, I did a ton of research for my own use, and it was hands down Wedderspoon. So it wasn't that it was convenient for me to purchase and I just bought it. I've been consistently using your Manuka honey over everyone, and that's years. So it was obvious to me to look into you guys as a supplier, and thank goodness you do that. And when we started these treats, and I knew we wanted Manuka honey as one of our main ingredients, and it's when I say main, it's obviously very, very small in terms of the amount that we use per treat. So everybody, just so you know, I'm not a huge fan of sugar and sweets in our pets' food. But let me tell you something, we have the right amount in this. And, between Dr. Billinghurst and other amazing veterinarians that helped us with this, you'll be very pleased. This is just perfect enough. So here's the other reason I chose it, Mike, is my research and all the veterinary research, and you're probably not an expert on why Manuka honey might be good for dogs, but so I won't ask you to weigh in, but we chose it for, it's got clear benefits that are antibiotic, antiviral, antifungal. It's got oral health benefits, which I love because it's those things, and immunomodulatory properties. That's the reasons I am a fan of Manuka honey. And I just want the same thing for my dog and the dogs that are our customers. So, and this product, you have several products at Wedderspoon, but let's talk about the one that we purchased from you. So it's monofloral. Okay. Yeah. We talked about that. And then what else? It's raw.
Picking up on what you're saying, in order for the product to arrive for its intended use in the best state possible, raw and unpasteurized, minimally processed. We try and operate as close to hive temperature when we're melting the honey for processing, like trying to keep it as minimally handled as possible. So it's in as good a original state, if you like, from when it was harvested. We also supply our honey as harvested. So the honey that we will get from this current summer season, which we're in right now in New Zealand, we will start taking receipt of as soon as the harvest is completed at the beekeeper. So we're using the honey as it's not so much fresh, because that'd be a bit bold, but we're using it as soon as possible after it's produced. Because as you'd expect, the beekeepers will produce an entire harvest, and then we will draw from that over the course of the year. And then for the time that we have the honey on site, we're storing it in ambient conditions. And so it's minimally heated, and we treat it with a lot of respect that it deserves. And really, can't stress enough how lucky we are to be partnered with these very, master beekeepers. They were actually recognized at our industry conference last year with a sustainability award by industry. So that really gives you a sense of, just how big of fans we are of them, basically. Great people to deal with, and they love bees. It's really evident when I spend time with them, just how well thought out their beekeeping practices are, how respectful they are of the bees. They're very gentle, everything's very methodical, and really they're very high producers of honey. So they're doing all the right things, obviously, and putting a lot of work in. And that's partly why it's such a premium product. That kind of effort's required.
Well, I've met and spoken with beekeepers, and you don't want to ask them how their bees are unless you have like 30 to 40 minutes.
No, that's a good point.
They know everything. It's fascinating. And
Mm.
they have been, handed down. Usually, they've picked this up generation after generation, and
Mm.
it's very, very fascinating. I'm planning on doing a beekeeping, like, I don't know what it's called, if it's a course or something, but there
Yeah.
is at a regenerative farm. I'm going to do it. I'm not. I'm going to conquer my fear of bee stings. For some reason, I have one, and
It's quite natural. I think my advice there is wear a bee suit and make sure the veil is done up correctly, and then you'll be
okay.
fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So the the other thing that strikes me from the way you described your hives, your partners, is this treat is made with regenerative ranched pork, 100% white oak pastures regenerative pork. And that's super important to us from the point of view of the health of the product, the actual meat, the product,
Mhm.
the way the animal is treated, and the health of the soil, which we think ends up going back into the animal, into the protein, because what they eat is a product of the soil. And
Right.
so um, it feels to me a lot like the pork. The bees are like regenerative ranch. They're, in other words, they're placed in a very obviously clean and in a great environment. And who knows? I think in 20 years we might know more about bees like we know
Mm.
about animals. Like the quality of the honey is in direct proportion to the life they live, if they're happy, if they're fulfilled. I mean, I truly believe that,
Mm.
you know?
Absolutely. I mean, I think you're onto something there because, like, a lot of beekeeping operations around the world use supplements. So they'll use protein supplements, and and in other countries they'll feed significant amounts of sugar. So one of the reasons that our beekeeping partners are so productive is because they make use of honeydew. So that's a different honey flow that's in autumn, spring, and autumn, and by utilizing that also organic honeydew flow, that builds up hive strength without the need for any. I mean, they can't. In order to be organically certified, you can't feed sugar anyway. But that's kind of how they do it. It really builds up hive strength on a naturally occurring floral source, and then the bees are ready to go onto the crop. And that definitely plays a part in this, I think, in terms of the total number of bees in the hives and how strong they are, because bee strength is critical. The more bees you have, the more happy, healthy bees you have, the more honey you can gather, they can store, and you can harvest. And it's a really critical part of what is a beekeeper.
Yeah.
Like, and like you're 100% correct, because I mean, from a beekeeper's point of view, they're relying on the flowering to be there each season, and so respect for the land and ensuring that the land is treated well, and anything they can do to influence that, then that's what they're going to be doing. They leave a pretty minimal footprint, the beekeepers. They drive in on the road, they get out, they manipulate the hives, and they leave, and that's it. So it's a very low impact kind of practice, if you like.
Yeah. That's, I went to a big bee talk, and I could just bore everybody to tears with all the cool things I learned in it. But the stuff that people can watch YouTube videos on these expert beekeepers, it's fascinating how they treat. If somebody doesn't think for a minute about bees, I mean, they're these intelligent, brilliant. They're equipped with some crazy radar, intelligence, magnetic. They're tuned into magnetic fields. They're
There's a
amazing.
lot going on. Yeah.
There's a lot going on. And I just think they're an intelligent creature. And so once you start learning about what these beekeepers know about these bees and how they behave, and how you don't want to, just as much as you don't, I'll give us this comparison, or, metaphor. Just as much as you would rather not have a stressed out animal before its slaughter, because you don't
Mm.
want all the adrenaline in the meat. It's horrible. And it's horrible for the animal.
Mm.
You actually don't want to stress out the bees either. There's lots of reasons for that. And so these beekeepers are incredibly thoughtful and gentle and lovely to these bees. I just think I highly recommend people watch some YouTube videos on expert beekeepers. You'll be fascinated.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And it's something that's been joked about before, but the Bee Movie, that cartoon movie starring Jerry Seinfeld, is actually a really good watch. It's quite accurate. So,
Really?
that's a good way to digest a bit of information about bees. And then, like, learning about the bees is so important because, they control pollination for such a large amount of the food supply. Like, they're just an essential element to it. And, we've seen a decline in wild bee populations, typically from things like the varroa mite. And so the importance of commercial beekeeping just continues to go up and up. And like I often say to people, if you want to save the bees, buy honey. Because if you buy honey, then that beekeeper can earn an income to then manage bees, and then we'll continue to see pollination. It's absolutely critical. I mean, you look, for example, at one of the largest man-influenced migrations in the world being the almond pollination in California each year. Beehives travel from all across the US to that location and then all around. And I mean, we're talking, it's a major undertaking, as well as all the other crops that they pollinate. So, just utmost respect for the beekeepers. And because I'll tell you the other thing, it is hard work, beautiful, hot, scorching, sunny day, big, thick linen bee suit on, you're lifting heavy boxes and stuff. I've done it for a couple of days, and I have to tell you, you come away from it going, yeah, that's proper work right there.
Yeah, I mean, they're like farmers.
Yeah, bee farmers.
That's the other thing that makes me feel like this is so akin to the regenerative ranch white oak pastures that we supply, that supplies our protein, our pork. It's this is hard work, it's good work, and it's really, really good for the planet. We have this thing, Mike, that we say pets times planet, pets, and there's an X planet, and it's basically what's good for the health of our pets can be good for the health of our planet. We don't have to do one thing at the cost and expense of another. Mm-hmm. And so what we're trying to do at Gussy's Gut is create a market for not only the most premium products for your dogs, but that also is pulling in, organic, biodynamic, regenerative products that, can help with sustainability, with regenerative farming, with education, and here you are talking to us about, buying honey, supports beekeepers and frankly, pollination.
Yeah. It's a great story. It's a great story to tell, right? And, congratulate you on having a product that gives you a platform that you can tell that story and raise awareness, particularly think of things like regenerative farming and, the importance of premium quality products, for the applications that you have.
Yeah. I mean, thank our customers, because without our customers, I don't get to tell the story. So
likewise,
thankful to all of you out there that are watching, that are purchasing GutAbles and Gussy's Gut, our fermented superfoods. The honey, let's go back to real quick, what makes it so unique. So I'm struck by the fact that you pour this stuff into a bowl and it's like scary gold. It's like, whoa, it's almost like it's lit up.
Yeah.
And I took a picture. I'll put one on our social media that's permanent. I did it on a story with an iPhone with no filter. And it's like, whoa.
Pops.
Yeah. I mean, why is it so golden like that?
That's a great question. Why is it the color it is? I mean, it's a reflection of the plant itself and the nectar from that plant, and really the way that we cream and crystallize it as well. So the way that we actually obtain that small, very delicate crystal in the product from the way that we actually handle it, so that it gives the most kind of light and bounce from it. But you're quite correct. It is a very golden honey. And if you compare that to, for example, a lot of the clear liquid honeys that you might see on shelf in America, it's just a much more inviting proposition. You eat with your eyes, right? Like, and when you look at that, you go, well, that's going to taste good. You know, what that says.
It is very obvious. It is gold, glistening, sparkling gold versus amber. Boom, amber. You know. Look, I love honey. I like honey in my tea. I'm having some, Wedderspoon actually is in here. But I'll, at people's house, I'll use the one in the bare container. That's basically just sugar, whatever. I like honey, but this is next level. Okay, so go back to the benefits of the product we purchase from you guys. So, and you guys sell this on the shelf in America, the same product, right? So tell people what we buy.
So what you're buying is our organic certified monofloral Manuka honey. So we sell that in a 250 gram jar, and it is sold. I know you can get it on Amazon. Forgive me, I can't remember where you can buy it on in retail stores off the top of my head, but Amazon's an excellent place to start. And yes, that is very much the same honey that we are supplying you for this great product. So it's sourced from the same beekeepers and comes to us in the same ways.
Yeah. So 250 grams. I just had to do a quick Google.
Yeah. What was it?
It's a little over 8 ounces.
Great.
Yeah. So, and we buy it in, if I remember right, 60-pound pails. You guys call them pails. Yes. Yeah. So we buy them. I think it's actually kind of funny because even your biggest product is still small and high quality. And it's like a very, for lack of a better word, it's very controlled. Like you won't sell, 500-gallon barrels of it. You guys have these little baby pails that are 60, and the honey's heavy because it's really creamy. It's heavy.
It's dense. Yeah.
It's very dense. Yeah. But smooth and beautiful to work with. My guys who actually make the product, they love working with it. It's just like a beautiful product to work with. All right. So let's talk real briefly about what do you guys tell human beings about Manuka, and like, do you have it every day? Because everybody's looking at these numbers that are on your labels, all the labels of all the Manuka honey companies. So it's confusing as all hell. To the consumer, probably, I know not to you, but so let's just start here. What do you generally recommend? Can people have Manuka honey every day, or do you?
It's a great question, because if you look at the market, there is lots of different options, right? And really, our product is the honey you want to be eating every day, as many different ways as you can. I mean, we're talking, on your pancakes, in your tea. We have a lot of different social media posts from people that use it as a face mask, and everything else. And and it's almost always, positive feedback from people. I love the flavor. I love I've used it for this. It's been really good. We've seen celebrities pick up on it. We've had organic social usage, like, for example, our drops. So our drops contain the same organic Manuka honey that was in the jar and in your product. And a couple of years ago, we had Ariana Grande feature our drops on that TV show, The Voice, as being good for singers for this, right? Which was just unbelievable. Wow. Like that stuff just doesn't happen, right? Like, they're just completely amazing. And that was pure discovery on her part. She loves the product, and that's how it got out there. And we've seen those. In terms of another everyday usage, the drops are good, because especially this time of year in America, like, we're doing a large 60-piece count box at a whole bunch of Costco's across the US, and those same products are on Amazon and CVS retail points. So we're offering a number of different ways that consumers can use the product multiple times a day.
Right.
And Also different serving sizes. So we have, for example, for the keep the honey nice and clean, we have squeeze bottles. Those squeeze bottles are excellent if you just want to put a certain amount of something on, on toast or in a drink, as well as the different jar formats we have, and also a glass jar that sells through Whole Foods. So for people that would prefer not to use plastic.
Okay, cool. Now on the screen, we have Manuka honey for dogs. Google that. Take a look on YouTube. Some of the greatest veterinarians talk about practical applications for good quality Manuka honey, including topically. You'll be amazed what you can do topically with it. Yeah. So getting back to the confusing parts, let's not go down a deep rabbit hole.
Down the rabbit hole, no, yeah.
Yeah, but okay, here's the deal, everybody. There's all these different ways of measuring and quantifying, and you'll see numbers on your Manuka honey. I'm just going to oversimplify this. I'm going to make this very, very simple. So there's a mix of regulatory issues, and there's a mix of marketing that is baked in to these numbers. Okay. And you can probably find this in 5 seconds if you just Google on the history of, measuring. Yeah. But, and if that's what you want to do, go for it. But here's what we've done extensive research into this. And what we settled on is there's a measurement that Wedderspoon came up with that's called K factor, all one word, right? So Mike, please tell me about what K factor means.
Yeah, sure thing. I mean, we really look at that as kind of a quality guarantee. Our facility in New Zealand that processes and packs our honey, which I built about 8 years ago, and we still run to this day. We were the first Manuka honey plant in the world to obtain SQF level 3 accreditation, so the highest level of food safety that you can obtain. And we've maintained that in our most recent audit. We got 100%. So we've maintained that same kind of high level. And then the product is accredited glyphosate free and with the Detox Project. And then we're non-GMO accredited all the way back in 2014. We're the first honey brand to obtain that.
Wow.
We are traceable hive to home. So we can trace back to the hive site that the honey was produced from via the beekeepers that we partner with, based on the batch code that you'll see on your individual jar. So we have, all of those kind of quality controls and record keeping and everything. And I'm trying to think, there's a couple of other points. So the K factor, K12 is multifloral, typically a lower price point honey for consumers to try. And then K16 is the monofloral, and K16 and K12 are the conventional or non-organic Manuka honeys that we produce.
Yeah. And the one we purchase is K factor 28, right?
It doesn't have a K factor effectively. It's just organic. So the accreditation that it has is organic Manuka honey. Okay.
So with regards to factor and all this, if people are looking at Wedderspoon as a company, what separates? Just give us the numbers fast and easy here, simple. Like, what does your rating go up to, and what does that mean? Like, why do you need to buy? What we identified for dogs, by the way, by veterinarians, we identified this specific product that we purchase as being just in the sweetest spot, no pun intended,
excellent,
for dogs. So, and for this treat and for the amount we use. So tell us about, like, as far as like for people who want to purchase your product, Wedderspoon, whether on Amazon or Costco or other places, what's the top number? Like, how do we think about this?
Yeah, sure thing. So we have the K12 and the K16 is your multifloral and your monofloral, what you might describe as, everyday honeys. Then we have the organic honey, which is just this ultra premium rare product that we've covered. And then we've also released on Amazon, we have done an 850 MGO for our consumers to see if that's of value to them. if that's the kind of thing they're looking for based on their research to deliver the benefits they're looking for from a Manuka honey, we've done that also. So that is available. So we really have a range. I mean, the expectation is that, K16 conventional honey is your mainstay. That's the honey that you're using multiple times a day. You love the flavor of it. You can't get enough. That's really it.
Well, I'm all for monofloral. I got no issue with monofloral, and I'm sure as hell not putting my, I'm not going to put $20 worth of Manuka honey on my pancakes.
Yeah.
That's
more than once. Yeah.
Yeah. That's something that, you want to do a teaspoon, or put it, for your throat, like, is it Aria Grande? Is that what you said, Ariana?
Yeah, the drops. Yes.
Yeah. So that makes sense to me. So you're using food as medicine that way. But yeah, if you're putting it on and I know lots of people who use 100% grass-fed regenerative steaks, and they put honey on their steaks. They love it. So
that's maybe as a marinade.
Yeah, but no, they put it on afterwards. That's how they eat it.
That's the first time I've heard that. That's interesting, Rob. I assume they put other things with it for the flavor profile, like salts and peppers.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Salt, yeah. And then Paul Saladino is famous for doing that with his steaks, and I guess there's tribes, they eat the grass-fed meat, they'll eat honey, and he just found a way to combine them and save a step or something.
Yeah. Brilliant.
All right, cool. So this has been super informative. So is there anything that we haven't covered? I feel like we've covered a lot. Is there anything that we haven't covered here, Mike, about Manuka honey that we want our folks to know about?
Look, I think you've excellent questions, Rob. I think you've given us a chance to really talk pretty openly about our product, and thank you very much. I mean, really, probably the thing to say is that the people that work for Wedderspoon are very passionate about the products that we produce. We love them. We use them ourselves. We recommend them to people. And, we have a lot of pride in our business because, we're taking one of the best products that New Zealand makes and we're sharing it with consumers all across North America. And, we're the leader at retail in terms of the number of points where you can find that in supermarkets. Yeah. And we just really want to help people enjoy this great product.
That's great. Well, folks, if you want to know more about Wedderspoon for yourself or your dog, you're welcome to give it just a little, what is that? One of those little baby spoons. What are those called? Slipping me. Oh, darn it. I can't remember the name. Those little baby spoons that you put beside your tea. Go to Wedderspoon.com.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. And Mike, what we forgot to mention? What do you do for Wedderspoon?
Oh yeah. So I essentially run the New Zealand operation for Wedderspoon. So I manage and maintain our factory facility that packs the honey. I manage the relationships with the beekeepers around the country that we source the honey from, and all of our value-add products that we produce, such as the drops, and manage those relationships. So pretty busy role, but pretty fun, and very lucky to be able to do some of the things that I do.
Yeah, well, you are. I mean, you're very lucky. You're very lucky to live there, and you're very lucky to to be working with such great people that are focused on the land and a quality product. It shows. I mean, I wanted people to know what you do because you're actually a product guy, but you love it. You can tell you love the company so much. You're actually like a really good PR guy for it.
Thank you.
Naturally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, it's been a pleasure. Everybody, here's what we believe. We believe that working with the best ingredients and in our supply chain, I mean, we have to use the supply chain word. Best ingredients create the best products, hands down. The best manufacturing ways, the ways we make our treats is really the same way we make our fermented superfoods. So it all starts with products like Wedderspoon, and I'm so glad you got a chance to meet Mike and meet Wedderspoon, and I hope you go out and get it for yourself, for the people in your life, your kids, and and certainly for your dogs through Gussy's Gut. So thank you very much, Mike, for your time.
Look, my pleasure. Thanks so much, and really nice to be on the show or talk like this. It's been a privilege. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what we call this.
I don't know either.
It's a present. How about a presentation? Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us, and please go to gussysgut.com and go get some GutAbles for your dog. Take care.